Hello, it's Natalie Ryan Hebert here. I'm the founder of the Red Tent program and rapid transformational therapy practitioner. I help women to overcome premenstrual dysphoric disorder, as I've also done myself. And I'm joined today with one of my wonderful clients, Binuta, who's very kindly coming on to share her story so that hopefully it inspires you, if you're listening, to know that healing is really possible. So welcome, Binuta. Thank you for coming to speak with me today.
Of course, I'm so glad to be here, Natalie.
So can you share with us what it was, where you were at in your life, where we were at, how were things for you before you found the Red Tent program, before you found me on the internet somewhere?
Uh, yeah, of course. It just feels like such a long time ago. I met you. I think I found you maybe about 6 months ago, and I had been struggling with PMDD symptoms for maybe 8 years by then. I
Mm,
just didn't realize. I didn't know the term PMDD. I didn't know one diagnosed it for me. I just knew that there's something wrong. I wasn't able to kind of connect it to my cycle. And I remember doing all kinds of physicals and tests and things like that. But the year before I met you, that was last year, or maybe I think 2018, is when I started tracking my symptoms to my cycle and noticing things like anxiety attacks and paranoia, um, just plain old falling, um, you know, losing it with my kids and my husband and not being able to associate that with the person that I thought I was. I have two kids. I'm in my early 40s. I'm a stay at home mom and an artist. And I felt like I was juggling too much. And by the time I found Natalie, I was kind of suicidal most cycles
mm,
just after ovulation. That
mm,
was very, very scary because I just didn't know how to get back off of that. I was on medication. I had tried several medications, several doses, and that didn't really work because it kept me on this really low, sort of depressed place where I wasn't able to feel any emotion. And I think basically I was heading towards maybe a full hysterectomy, and that was my option. And I had talked to somebody about it, a gynecologist, and um, yeah, it was just, I felt like I was sitting in a car, no brakes on, full speed, just heading towards the cliff, and there was just no respite from that. So
mm.
I found Natalie through my sister who was on Facebook, and she said, you have nothing to lose. There's this thing, and it's, um, try it out, see what it's all about. And I was just like, okay, what can it do? It's not surgery. It's not. I'm not going to be medicated, so there's just nothing you can do. How can that possibly help? So yeah, but then I told my husband and I spoke to Natalie. I told my husband, I was like, honey, I think we have to do this. He's like, go for it. Because he was so done. He was so done with just the whole experience of what was happening to the whole family every month.
Yeah, it's tough on the husbands for
Yeah.
sure because they feel so helpless, I think, to
Yeah.
do anything. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was a dark and difficult place to be in, and then your beautiful sister, who is on Facebook, and you're not, lucky you, discovered yeah, the work that I do. Okay, so then you thought, all right, we'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? It's not a, but you thought, well, what can it possibly do? If it's not surgery and it's not medication, how's it going to work? So you had this call with me, and what made you think, all right, I'm going to give this a try, apart from thinking, well, I've got nothing to lose? But what was it that I said to you, if you can recall, that made you think she may be onto something here, this Aussie in Copenhagen?
Um, well, I definitely recognized it rang a bell when you started talking about childhood trauma because I knew my kids are about the same age when I went through some significant what I associate with or associated with as trauma as a child, and that was kicking in every cycle. Um, so I knew that had a part to play, and I felt like there was this whole component of midlife crisis. So I knew that psychologically there was a lot of baggage that I was carrying. So I assumed that once that was down, I was then dealing with just the hormones, which made it so much easier. So I thought, okay, let's do this and see how she deals with that aspect of it, and then we can go ahead. So I was happy to let go of that baggage and just drop it, and that's what happened during the call. Um,
Mhm.
I felt really, I was able to process what I was experiencing. I was able to sort of look at it and go, huh, well, that did happen. And that's it. I have no reason to think about it. That happened. It's over. It's in the past. And let's just figure out what we can do now. So I felt empowered. I felt really in control of those memories. Those memories weren't taking over,
And
you
you're
know, my,
referring to your RTT session now when you talk about
yes.
going back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because once we begin, so you made the decision to work with me and you thought, okay, I can see the link between, yes, there is childhood trauma there. I can see how the hormonal shift is pushing on that or bringing it to the surface in some way. And then we started our work together. So yeah, so the rapid transformational therapy, as you explained, we go back to the root, the cause, the reason for the beliefs that are now triggering these emotional responses. And then you can find the belief, and then you can realize, oh, that's not actually true. It's not true now. And it even wasn't true back when I was little, beliefs like there's something wrong with me, or I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. All these sorts of things are the common beliefs that I discover in with my clients. And I can't recall with your session exactly what it was. It's a few months back now, but it was something along those lines, isn't it? Where there's this unworthiness underlying, and you don't know how to get rid of it. It's at a subconscious level. You've disconnected from your self-worth that you're born with.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I had, like, I think most people experience this, that I just didn't feel like I had enough love in my life growing up. I didn't experience love the way that I really wanted and I
Mm.
expected from my parents, who were working and doing the things that everybody does. So it wasn't their fault, it wasn't mine. And I held on to that belief. And as someone who's approaching midlife, and I think of it as like I'm in my 40s, and at this point I still feel like I'm not good enough, and I'm trying to do all these things. I'm trying to raise my kids, do my work, um, be present with my community, all the while feeling like I'm worth nothing. And I think that really pushed me down the black hole, as
Mm.
you may say. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention with the RTT that Natalie you did, and I love, is the fact that you created this package to deal with what's happening right now in the moment, and how to empower yourself to focus and work through your thoughts as they come. So
Mm.
had it been just an RTT session, I feel like I would have been left, uh, with nothing, with no tools. And we're
Mm.
done with the RTT, and I've cleaned my slate. But now what next? So I
Mm.
feel like that package that you created with recognizing your thoughts and working with it was just really brilliant. And I still use it today. It's been several months, and I still work with that.
Yeah, so it's a combination, just to explain what Binuta's talking about there. It's a combination of the rapid transformational therapy. So we get to the root issues of what's creating the emotional reactions, what's being triggered. If you're being triggered, we talk about being triggered a lot when it comes to PMDD. And being triggered means there's a massive wound here, and a grain of salt is triggering the pain of it. It's not what's happening right now that's really the problem. It's pushing on some pain from the past that I haven't healed. That's what being triggered is all about. So that's what the RTT is for. But then we have all these thoughts in our mind. If we could just get the thoughts in order, we'd be okay, wouldn't we? It's the thoughts that come in so often and then take over our minds, and then we start getting emotional about the negative thinking we're having, the negative thoughts we're having about ourselves. So the other side of the program is all based in metacognitive psychology. So the thinking around the thinking, the thought processes. And that's the other side. So the RTT is like reducing the tsunami down to a surfable wave, and the metacognitive tools and the coaching that I give on the online training is about making you a better surfer. So that's the metaphor I always use for what the program does and how it works. So, and as an artist, and I think this is a really interesting point, when you're trying to create and achieve and do from a place of unworthiness, where you're climbing a mountain that you can never really get to the top of because the summit of that mountain keeps moving and you're never really going to get there. Well, that's a very different place to be creating from, isn't it, than I'm already enough just as I am. And I think some people think if I know that I'm enough, then I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to strive, because what am I striving for if not to feel good enough? But what is it like, Binuta, when you do know that you're enough, that you do know that you're lovable, that you do have self-love restored? How did that affect you in your parenting, in your marriage, your in your career and your work as an artist?
Um, well, that's I'm not sure I'd be able to really articulate that because it's such a it's a huge change. I mean, for one, I'm able to stay compassionate just to myself and to my family and really be present. And they have all noticed a huge shift. My son just the other day wrote something about family, and he said, "I love my mom because she loves doing fun things with me." And I
Mm,
said, "Oh my gosh, you really think I'm fun?" Because that was never the case before. They always said, "Mom, you're too serious, and you get angry so often."
mm,
But I feel truly just liberated. Like in the philosophical traditions, they say you saw the light.
mm,
And I am a long-term meditator, and I've been doing that since we've had the session. I've been meditating every day using some of the tools that we practiced as well. And I recognize every day that I just feel like it's empty. I'm liberated. There's really no thought. The thought that comes in just goes, and it's just a thought. There's nothing attached to it. There's no emotion attached to it. I'm able to sense it, and I'm able to let it go.
mm,
And just being able to do that, I'm then from that place of confidence and from being grounded and from being compassionate and seeing the world as it is,
mm,
not feeling everyone's suffering and my suffering. I'm able to function so much better. I'm homeschooling my son. I'm curious. I'm open to learning new things. I'm doing new things with my art. I still don't have enough time, but I am doing new things. I've just booked 2 more shows
wow.
that I'm excited about. So I I'm happier than I've ever been. I don't remember when, and I'm just I'm optimistic about the next half of my life. I keep thinking, you're done with the first half, and you wasted all this time thinking about all the crap in your head that you shouldn't have been, and it was no one's fault. You had no one to blame. You couldn't blame yourself either. It was just you were a product of the circumstances, and now I just feel like I have the rest of my life to live with a clean slate and
Mm,
just focus on my relationships and focus on building community and supporting the people around me and just taking care of myself without any guilt. So
mm,
it's amazing. I can't say enough about the change, to be honest.
it's incredible. It's like, you come for PMDD going, I don't want a hysterectomy. Can you help me with this premenstrual dysphoria that I have every month? But what you leave with is, I mean, is something to me that sounds like enlightenment, right?
Mhm.
It's such a spiritual journey, and there is always even the Buddha talks about the suffering, right? There's the suffering you come from that that sort of forces you to face yourself, forces you to face those demons and realize it was never a demon. It was a very sad, upset little child, um, who I had abandoned in myself and rejected in myself, and that's the deep pain that we carry, is the disconnection within ourselves, that we have abandoned ourselves, we've stopped loving ourselves, and that's so incredibly painful to live with.
Mhm.
um, and just being able to see that, through this process, it's not something you could sit and talk with a counselor with and ever come to, is it? You could go round and round in circles talking about the pain that you're in,
Yeah.
but you never get to the freedom, because you never question the beliefs that are creating the pain when
Mhm.
you're in a counselor's office, or just seeing a psychologist once a week, therapy for 9 years, as some people do. And I'm sure we learn a lot along the way. I'm not, and there's a place for it. But when you're really ready to say, no, I'm just done with this now, I'm really ready, then, yeah,
I need to
then
tell you
what happens?
something.
Oh, hello, good morning.
Sorry, we all
We've
just
got
woke
a
up.
little friend on the line. Well, we can finish up in a moment anyway, so you can get back to being that fun mum that you are with that gorgeous little child of yours. But thank you so much for sharing, Binuta. Is there anything that you, when we finish up, is there anything that you'd like to share?
Um,
Anyone considering, where you used to be thinking, oh, maybe I need a hysterectomy, maybe I just need to up the Prozac. What would you say to a woman feeling really lost and hopeless about PMDD? What would your message be?
well, for one thing, I just want to let if anyone listening know that I am in my luteal phase right now, and I'm a week away from my period. So at this point, prior to my work with Natalie, I was popping pills, um, and struggling with just staying afloat and present with my kids. So I would really say that this is the program is extremely well rounded. It kind of handles most issues that you're dealing with and not just PMDD. So for me, it worked with every aspect of my life. And I thought that I was just working on one issue. So it sort of trickles down to your relationships, it trickles down to your work, it trickles down to how you present yourself in the world. And I think that is really important. I think that's something that therapy alone can never do. So it's an intense couple of months. I found a group of women that I just really connected with. I'm still in touch with one of them who lives, on a different continent, and we check in with each other, and that's amazing. There's a wonderful feeling of empathy and connection that I think that only comes from having experienced something like this and worked through it with Natalie. So I felt well taken care of. I can't say enough, and I'm one of those people who doesn't. I don't try out 10 different things. I just go with my gut and do this one thing, and I did, and I'm so glad that I, went with my instincts and did the program. So if you're on the edge and if you're trying to figure out should I not, I would say, just go for it. You have nothing to lose. You're going to come out you're going to come out at the end of it as a different person, and you're going to be so grateful, so grateful.
And not a different person. I think your real self is who you come out
Yes.
inside. As you drop, you lose all of the baggage that you've been carrying. It's actually stopping you from being who you really are, who you're born to be. And then you come out the other side as, you come with PMDD, but you leave as your authentic self, or at least closer to that, whatever that
Right.
means. The journey continues, of course, but you've come so far. I remember we did our follow-up and I went, oh my gosh, you've surpassed me now. The teacher, the student has become the master. It was just, wow, look at you. I'll have what she's having. Yeah, so it's really, really wonderful. And I'm very, very proud of you, if that doesn't sound too condescending. But yeah, I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy for you and everything that that the work with me has done for you. And you're really committed to yourself. And that's what it took. It's your own understanding that's freed you. So yeah, so thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I'll let you get on to breakfast because I know it's early in the morning for you.